October 2nd, 1994, Hagerstown, Maryland. The sprint cars take the green as part of the Oktoberfest. Howie Locke and Craig Eschenauer take the long way around. A heads-up feature lineup started the 94 season's hottest team right on the pole. The Walt Dyer 461, as piloted by Lance Deweese, leads all 50 laps for the $10,000 win. Todd Gracie finished second. October 8th, Terry Leininger prepares for Super Sportsman competition at Silver Spring, where Bob Fantasy and Dave Kalaman will settle their battle for the 94 Sportsman Tour Championship. The feature begins with this massive pileup. The number 1 of Fantasy took the lead from the number 50 of Joe Reniker on the 8th lap. Kalaman, in the Highlands number 3, got as high as second before slowing to a 4th place finish. Fantasy talks to Allen in Victory Lane.
Bob, you did it in great style.
Well, we didn't have much choice. we came here just like every other week to try and win the race, and it just happened to work out that way. I'm so happy for my crew and my car owners, Ken and Vicki Hamilton, all my sponsors, LPS, Saturn Harrisburg, Saturn Carlisle Pike. They've really supported us, plus all the fans that supported us for a long time.
You and Dave battled the whole way. You're the tour champ. Dave's the speedway champ, and both champions in my book, so congratulations to both of you guys.
Yeah, Dave, he's one hell of a good racer, and it was a fun year. It was a little nerve-wracking at times, but it was a fun year. We really had a good time.
November 5th, Delaware International. The small block modifieds are flagged off for the season-ending Delaware Championships. Richie Cass Jr. tangles with Norman Short before turning over.
Turn number 2, under the yellow. All this other happening down to the other end with Richie Cass Jr. getting upside down.
It's a beautiful afternoon for a ride in a convertible. Right, Richie? Lots of Pennsylvania drivers are down here in southern Delaware, including the number 114 of Craig Von Doren, who leads every lap. It's Craig's 110th career feature win. November 6th, Rob Hart is among the 20 sprint cars pit side as Hagerstown continues to take advantage of the beautiful fall weather. The Fall Classic will include twin 20 feature events. John Smith doesn't know what number he wants or which way to go. Dale Blaney in the Hughes 94 led Lance Deweese until contact sent both to the pits with flat tires. This opened the door, and in cruised Dan Dietrich driving his own number 8. Blaney started on the pole again for the second feature, which he will lead wire to wire. Action in turn 3 as Scott Carl, just up from the Super Sportsman, turns it over. Right on, Scotty. While Carl scores good PR with the fans, Blaney picks up the loop. Florida's East Bay presents the All-Star Winter Nationals. February 15th is opening night. Larry Skinner spins. Our own Chuck Reinert lost a left front tire, and it was all downhill from there. If tough luck Chuck's luck ever evens out, he'll win a lot of races. Randy Hammer gets over a tire. Tim Norman, number 6, and our own Lance Deweese, number 461, duel for the feature lead until the number 9 of Texan Gary Wright slipped in between the pair on the 6th lap. Wright goes on to take first from Norman. After a red flag for George Austin's poor parking angle, Deweese, who moved into second, had a clear shot at Wright. DeWeese stayed in the draft, but made no move to pass the tough Texan. That's Gary on the left. Back in PA, Motorama is in gear with something for everyone. The big show of all kinds of racing takes place in the Harrisburg Farm Show Complex. How far will a young man go to earn a kiss from the new Ms. Motorama? Pretty far. Closer to our subject are the micro sprint races. The number 21 of Kramer Williamson leads the celebrity feature event. Kramer's win is secured when second place Frankie Herr steps on his Johnson. Lincoln gets its February 25th opener in, as scheduled, as we meet micro superstar but sprint car rookie Kevin Gobrecht.
Well, being the rookie, the new kid on the block, if you will, coming to get up against all these veteran drivers, names like Lance DeWeese, Bill Bryan, Glenn Fitzcharles, Freddie Raymer, the whole 9 yards. Is there any intimidation there at all?
Well, there was when I was younger. I used to look up these guys, but at the same time I race. Lance races the same division I used to, micro sprints, and we race go-karts with Chris Eash and even Stevie Smith Jr. That's where I started my career with. I bought one of his old go-karts and we ran together for 3 years. He took me to the track. So, they made it to the bigger leagues faster, but at the same time they're friends and they're just, to me, they're just regular people. They're neighbors and so forth. So it's just they got more experience than me, but whether I'm intimidated or not, I really don't think I am.
Kevin went on to pull a wheelie and then spin in warm-ups before finishing 16th in the feature. Chris Ace was leading his heat when he broke a shock. Chris later was found to have a cracked wrist, but never missed a race. The feature took a couple tries to get underway before going non-stop. The cement took its toll on Brian Paulus's racer. The opening day heads-up start found Lance DeWeese starting up front and threatening to turn the race into a rout. But hey, this is the fabulous Lincoln Speedway. We pick up the action with 3 laps to go.
Raymer looking to the inside. It's the 12 of Freddie Raymer trying to make the move on the 461 of Lance DeWeese. DeWeese coming off one fantastic season, probably the best season of his career in the 461. Raymer tries to look on the outside. They're side by side, wheel to wheel. Raymer backs it down, parks it down in second. Now he looks to the inside. Lap cars out in front. Raymer grabs the lead from Lance DeWeese. White flag is out. Last lap action. Freddie Raymer and Lance DeWeese nose to tail. DeWeese tags Raymer in the back. One more turn to go. Brings it out of the fourth corner. It's fast. Freddie Raymer in car number 12 with the win. Well, a little bit of tap in the back there in the back stretch on the last lap. Was that a congratulatory tap?
It was the same tap I'd have gave him if I was that close. It's just one of them deals.
And we race hard, and he'd have done the same thing to me, if I was leading. So, we tried to disturb him a little bit, maybe, to get him messed up a little bit going into the next turn. But he's experienced just like I am. We race hard. Lap traffic went his way tonight, but tomorrow's another day.
You just can't get good tabloid out of these sprint car drivers. Lincoln is in great shape again on March 4th. Keith Kaufman, number 59, duels with Todd Gracie. Big Block Weaver gets turned around. Dave Haight, 07, leads the feature over Bill Bryan. Todd Schaefer's blown tire instigated this first turn mess. Haight faded on the restart, and the 461 of Lance Deweese took over for his second win of the season, including the East Bay Nationals.
We don't like losing at all, so last week was really hard on us, and we'll be ready for them the rest of the year.
March 5th, Len Thompson warms up the engine in very cold weather at the Williams Grove Opener. Lightning Len looked fast during heat competition. Watch for his inside move in turn 2. Craig Eschenauer loses a tire on the fast surface that would find the 10-lap track record broken twice. Brian Paulus finds the wall again. Len Thompson's day also turns for the worse as he spins on the start of the feature. Rick Hench, John Armstrong, Todd Gracie, and Greg Coverdale all flipped, with Gracie's racer, for the second day in a row, getting the worst of a 10-car pileup. The Raymer-Deweese show continues today at the Grove.
Deweese finished second to Freddie Raymer last week at Lincoln. And right now, that's how they're running, 1 and 2. Then it's Chris Eash, and now the two leaders are side by side. Raymer and Deweese take us down into turn 3. Raymer by a half a car length out of the 4th corner. This will be 7 laps complete as Deweese with the edge crossing the line. Raymer not rolling over. This young lion, the 461.
Looked like he could go anywhere you wanted on the racetrack. Going through lap traffic on the inside or the outside didn't seem to matter.
Yeah, I took a punishment last week after my little ball balloon cost me one. And last night we wasn't real great through lap traffic, so we worked a little bit harder to try to get the car a little bit better so I could drive it anywhere.
Bob Bennett, who won his first feature last year at Selinsgrove, is among the 31 sprinters who will fight to qualify at Lincoln on March 11th. Greg Coverdale's last ride already in the Weikert Sprinter brought his in-car rotations to a total of 7 in less than a week. Bob Bennett does not have a good day, pulling the worst card in this third turn shuffle. Another view. Feature time. Chris Ace leads off the front row. Lightning Len Thompson is being highly noticed. Here Len refuses to give up the second position to Todd Schaefer. Len eventually crossed up, bringing out a premature yellow. Len was sent to the rear, much against his wishes. Now Schaefer outfoxes Ace on the restart. Half a lap later, a frustrated Ace steps on his you-know-what. While Schaefer holds off Lance Deweese for the win, Thompson's agitated and rammy charge back through the pack will be protested by Dan Dietrich on the final lap.
We've been trying some things. Lance, I don't have to tell everybody how good Lance has been, and we feel we can get to the top 5 about anywhere, but we're going to start trying some things we'd like to try and get as good as him. And I don't know, we were a little better for this 25, but we were pretty good at the end. After the red, we definitely got better, and I want to thank my crew, because without the adjustments, we wouldn't have been good. I want to thank Liveys. They joined our team this year, and sort of dedicate this one to them.
Lincoln has been the place for early season action as we return on March 18th. A double show packs the pits with over 60 sprinters. Unfortunately, the big show combined with sun and wind to completely do in the track surface. Kevin Gobrecht, number 92, and the yellow racer of Brian Monteith are tied for first in the Fosnut competition. Monteith's donuts are rudely interrupted by Scott Carl. Chris Ace started on the pole and kept her straight.
You know, we had our car working good, and looks like we picked the right tire. There was just a little bit of tread left on it, and you know, the car was working beautiful.
Little bit of tread. It looks like you need some new tires now with the winnings today.
Well, yeah, I think we can afford to buy a couple now.
Think you can get a couple. I tell you what, you Gremlins, oh my gosh, the first 3 weeks, if it wasn't something, it was something else.
Well, yeah, you know, we had problems the first couple weeks, and you know, the problem was me last week. I just lost my head and screwed up and spun out, but you know, we tried to keep our head together today, and we got it up here on the front straightaway.
The Cars Armaclad Sprints opened their season today at Lincoln. Jerry Speck almost flips off a spinning Pete Halata before Tom Leach gets the job completely done. Cars has its own wild bill in the form of William Albright. A few new parts and the number 33 would return to qualify. A spin by Jason Claus leads to more broken parts for Albright during the feature. Tracy Templin was uninjured in this snappy roll as the Cars drivers waste little time breaking in their racers for the new season. Randy Ruth leads every lap of the Cars feature event. 94 Cars point champ Mark Richard has the rod in the Fickett Big Block Sprinter this year. Mark will take her upstairs for a fine 9th place finish in the March 19th Jack Gunn Memorial at Williams Grove. Only one incident marred the Gunn Memorial when several racers got together in turn 3. Dale Blaney, number 94, threatened to lead every lap by opening a large lead off the pole. But the 461 of Lance DeWeasel snuck up on the leader late in the 30-lapper, and with just over a lap to go, took advantage of a lapped car situation for his 5th win on the season. Rich Eichelberger prepares for the Silver Spring Opener on March 25th. 58 self-starting and cooperatively driven super sportsmen will compete in 5 heats, 2 consies, plus a feature in just 3 hours, not to mention stock cars. It surely must be some of the most professionally presented dirt track racing in the country. Rich Eichelberger fails to miss a slowing Tim White. Jeremy Trout, number 7, holds off the 93 of Danny Hager for 13 laps when Hager got by. Then Trout challenged the Bigler-owned racer all the way to the checker. It's Hager's 3rd Silver Spring opening day victory. Meanwhile, 30 miles south at Lincoln, things are more erratic as only 10 cars will finish the feature. Tim Eldrith is first out. Cliff Bryan leads another aborted start. Dave Haight catches both the dirt and cement cushions on the 2nd lap. The restart. Todd Gracie, number 25, takes first from Cliff Bryan, but 3 wide in turn 3, and Kenny Adams brings out the red. Still, with just 2 laps recorded, Gracie will have to do it again. And now again. The 3rd time is the charm as Todd ends early season bad luck with a feature win. Williams Grove, March 26th. Fearless Rod Strout loves to race hard and will bear watching in 95. Here Rod scrapes by a spinning Jess Thomas. Billy Sims did not get by. The feature gets off to a shaky start when the front row gets together in the first turn. Heads up driving and alert officiating avoid a yellow. The 6 of Jimmy Nace leads over a frustrated Billy Pouch, who appears to be going twice as fast and twice as far. A late race red gives Pouchy time to aim, but Nace's hench-built racer does not spin its tires off the turns, and Jim talks about his car owner in Victory Lane.
He said, well, we're going back. We'll go back for a while, and the first Sunday we hit the tire down here, and I told him, I said, see, I told you I'm as good at 20, or I'm as good at 40 as I was at 20. I said, I remember hitting them tires when I was 20, and I can still hit them at 40.
At front row. April 1st, Tim Eldrith leads as the feature is green flagged at Lincoln.
Tim Eldrith, first to the flag stand, and Cliff Bryan and Carl get together. Carl a little sideways, and then Dietrich
Todd Gracie is out for the night.
Todd Gracie.
In search of his first feature win, Eldrith impresses the crowd by leading most of the feature. With less than 3 laps to go, Chris Aish finally takes the lead from the number 23. Now Eldrith has to hold off Bill Bryan for second. As Eldrith sits in close contact with his inner child, Chris Aish goes on for his second win of the season over Bryan. Also on April Fool's Day, the USAC Sprints are anxious to open their season at Eldora Speedway in the farmlands of western Ohio. Eldora is known as the fastest half-mile dirt in the world, and a continuing upgrade program is making it into one of the most attractive as well. Dave Darlin, number 36, has taken the lead. But the number 25 of Kevin Doty is in the low groove and challenging. The groove of winglessness is very wide, but it's a slide job nonetheless, as Doty takes over with 5 laps to go. Doty went on to barely avoid lap traffic, then auditioning for the Rolling Stones from Victory Lane. April 2nd, racing wingless on the world's fastest dirt and world's fastest asphalt during the same weekend. The often beleaguered USAC is still the best. Last night's winner, Kevin Doty, finds there is no cushion at Winchester, Indiana. Kenny Irwin, number 69, takes first from the yellow racer of Greg Staub, but gives it right back again. Irwin makes it stick 2 laps later. Mike Bliss and Staub make contact on the final lap. Bliss recovers as Staub gets into the wall. Meanwhile, Kenny Irwin has the famous Hoffman racer in the Winchester Victory Lane. The twitchy USAC midgets are even harder on the nerves on the banks of Winchester. Tracy Hines rattled his cage in warm-ups and was out for the day. The number 2 of Andy Michner takes the lead, but dropped out of the 30-lap Rich Vogler Memorial with 10 laps to go. The number 9 of Mike Bliss inherited the lead, meeting Emily Vogler in Victory Lane. April 7th, home again at Williams Grove. With tonight's fast surface plus the points inverted starts, there is no letdown. Brian Paulus, number 28, Jess Thomas, number 77, and Todd Gracie battle for the lead early in the 25-lapper. With the help of several cautions, the high point drivers make it to the front. The 69 of Donnie Kreitz is beginning to look like his old self, but he cannot get past the leader as it's another one for Lance DeWeese.
Fast racetrack tonight, Lance.
Yeah, I tell you what, Ray did a super job with the track tonight. It was fast all night, and if it's like this, you can race on it pretty good. And Donnie got in there underneath me that one lap, and I moved down the bottom. I felt pretty good down there then, so
I felt pretty good from there on out.
April 14th, the Super Sportsmen streak around Williams Grove. Pat Cannon suffers heavy front end damage in this tangle with Brett Romano. Tim White is the first sportsman flip victim of the year. It's a doozy, but Tim is okay. John Stoner is the second sportsman flip, still in heat race competition. Johnny Murphy, number 36, leads the feature over the 3 of Dave Kalaman and the 59 of Jake Rodaball. The finish, it's Kalaman over Murphy as Donnie Beaver gets by Rodaball for third.
You were so far back for a while. Did you believe you really had a chance to win this race as far back as you were there with maybe, 10 laps to go, even 7 laps to go?
Well, I knew I could run them down. Now, whether I could get by them or not, I wasn't sure of. But once I moved to the top, we were definitely faster. I tried to bottom a couple laps and was all bunched up, so I went to the top, and then I knew we had a chance.
Lance DeWeese scored another sprint car win, taking the lead from Todd Schaefer. April 15th, Scott Carl has looked strong recently. Tim Eldrith once again leads the feature at Lincoln. Todd Gracie gets under Eldrith, a little too hot. Third place, Scott Carl piles on to Gracie. Only Eldrith could restart. These missed events helped Fred Raymer come from 12th starting spot to take the lead from the 28 of Brian Paulus on a restart for an easy win that even seemed to bore Fast Freddy.
Yeah, I tell you, we just haven't been having much luck, and, hopefully this will help turn it around, but we're trying every week. It just ain't happening. Tonight we were pretty good. We can be a lot better, but it was a little bit slick.
The Cars sprinters, including Claire Wintermeyer, are back at Lincoln tonight. Claire's bad luck picks up right where it left off last year. John Martin turns it over. Like Raymer, the number 88 of Randy Ruth came from 12th starting spot to the front. Randy was leading with just 2 laps to go when he lost the right front wheel. Number 32, Brooke Webley, inherited the lead for his first career Cars win, as Wayne tells us what in Victory Lane.
Tell you what, you were running a strong second. Randy was looking good. Could you tell he had a wheel going bad?
No, I didn't notice that whatsoever. I was just pretty intent on trying to catch him again.
Well, I tell you what, there was some intense action up front. It just seemed like every time you turned your head, somebody else was there.
Yeah, I felt a lot of guys coming up, close to me there. I felt some pressure.
We wind up our 6th Sprint Car Show weekend at Susquehanna on Easter Sunday. More problems for Scott Carl. Fred Raymer led until nipping a lapped car which had spun in the 3rd turn. Chris Aish inherited the lead and won. John Stayman is among the 35 super sportsmen who are winding up a 3-race weekend tonight at Susky. Jerry Stralzer is upset over a 3rd turn tangle. Donnie Beaver gets bounced around on the first lap of the feature, calling for a complete restart. The 2nd try gets even worse. J.R. Fry leads, but the 93 of Danny Hager, who was on top of the big crash, has restarted and is closing in on the leader. Hager takes the lead on the 9th lap before meeting the trophy bunny in Victory Lane. Bring back the babes. Fred Raymer damaged his front end and will have to qualify via the Consi at Williams Grove on April 21st. Bob Bennett rushed off the pole to lead the feature until spinning in front of the field on the 3rd lap. Everybody missed the number 3, although Todd Gracie also slid to a stop. The 45 of Jeff Rohrbal inherited the lead. Jeff continued to lead, but as the race wound down, Fred Raymer was closing in. Raymer nipped Rohrbal on the final straightaway, in a win that thrilled the crowd and Fast Freddie as well.
You know, but he was running a hell of a good race, you know. I'm just glad to win the damn thing. We haven't been running real well. I stood on my dick there in the heat race, racing too hard, but, you know, I had to make up for the feature, but I'll tell you, I had a good time.
Nearly 40 cars sprints hit their highest speed so far this season as they do it Port Royal style on April 22nd. Judd Shepard, brother of established sprint car star Jeff Shepard, has a Cars ride this year. Unfortunately, things did not go well tonight for the number 3, but Judd is A-OK. Dan Jones, number 8, and Greg Wybe engaged in a small war for second until both backed into the first turn rail just after passing under the white flag. Although he started 10th, Brian Seidel managed to lead all but the first 3 of the 20 laps.
Yeah, we were fortunate. It's really a competitive series because nobody can, the way the rules are, nobody can really have a superior car. And you really have to hit the setup, and I knew the way the track was, it wasn't going to be that easy to pass, and when I saw how quickly we were getting through the pack, I was really happy with the way things go, and I'd like to thank the people at Armaclad. This has been a steadily growing series, and it's nice to see somebody take notice, and they've really done a lot to promote it, and I expect big things from here in.
The Port Royal regulars have larger engines and larger wings, but a smaller pit count. Favorite Lance DeWeese moves past the 55 of Mike Wagner and into second, but cannot catch the 88 of Todd Schaefer, who has opened up a large lead in the nonstop feature. April 5th. For nearly a decade already, the high-banked and finely manicured quarter-mile Path Valley Speedway has been the Friday night home to the always adventurous micro sprints, along with the local stock cars.
Still getting the signal to be ready to go.
And now, in 1995, you can add the full super sprints to the weekly card. You'll have to go to a drag race to find a quicker quarter mile.
Into turn number 1, a scramble taking place. 07 of Dave Hayes trying to grab the lead. Being challenged by 7 of Jeff Weaver Dietrich.
Keep your eye on the number 39 of Dan Dietrich, one of the Path Valley regulars this year.
07 of Dave Hayes. And Hanger Racing 07 out in front. Dietrich runs in second. Billy Bryan Jr. running third. Dave Hayes, one of those drivers, looking to visit Victory Lane very shortly out in front. Head of Farmers Market Restaurant. Dan Dietrich up top.
The number 12 of Bill Jones leads the feature from the pole, but not for long. The 16 of Bill Bryan does an easy slide job on the second lap and continues on for his second win of the season here. Meanwhile, over at Williams Grove, the girls are ready to score another good one. The 88 of Todd Schaefer has taken the lead from Todd Gracie, but the 461 of Lance DeWeese has come from his usual 12th starting spot and doesn't plan to quit advancing now. The pair of white racers exchanged the first position several times until DeWeese held command for the last 5 laps. Bobby Landis conducts tune-up as we visit Selinsgrove on April 6th. Bobby provided us with this footage of himself trying to make a mile out of the Selinsgrove Oval during the '94 season. Driving the number 9 tonight, Bobby completely dominated his heat race before trying to make a quarter mile out of the big half during the feature. The 88 of Phil Walter controlled the feature event until this embarrassing spin with just 2 laps to go. Joey Borich inherited the lead and made the most of it.
Yeah, we've been struggling all year. We crashed our new car. This is the car we ran all last year, and it was going so good in the National Open. And everybody wanted to give up on it last week, and I said, let's just bring old Bess back one more time. and give it a try. We had some things wrong with it, and we fixed it. We had Bob Fetter help me this tonight. He came out to help us. I got Rock, my crew. Everybody worked really good tonight.
Joey, this was a race where you really had to be patient tonight.
Yeah, I had a decent car, but I seen Phil was getting looser and looser as he went. I figured I'm just going to lay here and keep my line. I'm not going to lose my head and try to drive up to him. I'm going to let him mess up, and luckily he spun out.
We've got weird camera problems as Bob Bennett is on the pole for feature action at Williams Grove on May 5th. Bennett led for 7 laps when the 66 of Mark Richard makes this move. Bennett's racer now smokes and begins to slow as Fred Raymer moves into second. Lap 9. Raymer now leads. Here comes DeWeese. You guessed it. It's Grove win number 7. Jimmy Stitzel munches on Utzes before Cars Armaclad Sprint Competition. Scott Osherman leads the feature. Trouble in turn 1 as Stitzel and Lance Machete go over. More trouble near the front. Dave Ely loses second, the hard way. Osherman has dropped out with problems, and Dan Jones, number 8, now leads. But the number 50 of Brian Seidel is closing. Here's the finish, as point leader Danny Jones will talk to Bruce Ellis in Victory Lane.
Well, you did a super job winning your first feature at Williams Grove. Maybe it won't be too many years until you're running the first feature instead of the second here. What do you think?
Well, I'm having fun right now doing what we're doing, and we can do it first class the way we're doing it, you know. We really couldn't do it 410 first class the way we would want to, so we're just going to wait till the right time comes along, and may it be next year or in 10 years. We're having fun and doing what we want to do, and we're up front every week, so that's what it's all about.
Back to Selinsgrove on May 6th. Troy Long leads. Bruce Bowen bites the steel. The Weicker 29 has been driven by Kevin Fry for several weeks in a row. Kevin takes the lead, and then the high groove all the way to the win.
You've got to be a happy guy.
I'll tell you what, last night at the Williams Grove, I didn't know what was going to go. We broke the camshaft and motor, and we were pretty good down there. I worked all night. I had 2 hours sleep, so I told Bob before the feature, I said, I want to get this damn thing over real quick because I'm tired. I'm going home and go to bed.
And I'll tell you, I'd like everybody to know I've had a lot of people work on my motors over the years, but one of the sharpest guys that I ever had is Kevin Fry. I'll tell you, he's a dark horse, and the more wraps I can get on him, the better he's going to get. And we got a lot of good stuff back at the garage. We haven't come out with anything real fancy. This is an old car. It's 93. I haven't hit him with no good motors yet. It don't run bad. Chris Ginrich is working with us on the chassis, and I'll just tell you, we're going to get faster as we go.
The Cars Sprints make it a doubleheader at Selinsgrove tonight. Wade Kemp was leading his heat race. Back from his bad flip at Port Royal, Judd Shepard led for 11 laps before the number 119 of Greg Lively got passed for his first win of the season. May 7th, that's Wild Bill Hecker, driver of the number 82. The Super Sportsmen are at Susquehanna for our third doubleheader of the weekend. Trouble in the feature. Danny Hager is once again in the middle, and this time upside down. Danny once again would restart, but this time only finish 16th. The third lap restart. That's Paul Troutman leading, but the number 1 of Bob Fantasy is about to change that. Bob cruised on the smooth track to his first win of the season. The sprint feature was a two-car show. Howie Locke, number 77, managed to hold off Todd Gracie for 11 laps, but it's a 25-lap feature.
How has your season been going? We understand you've had some ups and downs this year. I understand this is your second win so far this year, so I guess this has to lift the team spirits.
Yeah, it helps a bunch. We've been having a lot of bad luck here lately. Just definitely every time you win, definitely makes it a lot better.
Queen down in victory circle. Don't forget, we'll be back again.
Todd, you're still number one.
May 11th, the Club All-Star Sprint Cars begin their tour of the circuit across the Jersey border to East Windsor Speedway, where many fans were stunned to pay $25 a seat. Others were not. Welcome to Jersey. 19 racers were pit-side. Danny Coggeshell holds her down. Fred Rahmer took the lead from Dale Blaney, number 94, en route to his 5th career win with the All-Star Circuit of Champions. May 12th, Danny Smith and a dozen more All-Stars challenged the Williams Grove regulars. George Austin and Randy Hammer spin. Time trial started Lance DeWeese in the second row. Dale Blaney and Fred Rahmer also started up front. DeWeese slipped under Blaney and then Rahmer on his way to a dominating win.
Hey, you got the All-Stars tonight. 1-1 for the posse, but we know what's coming up in 2 weeks. The World of Outlaws will be here. Are you ready?
I don't know. I tell you one thing. Us locals are either going to be pretty good against them or we're not going to be that good. Fred timed good tonight. I timed good tonight. Todd was off a click, but he was still timing pretty good. If we time good against them in 2 weeks, we'll be all right. But, yeah, if we don't time good against the Outlaws, it don't matter how good you are, you can't beat them. Timing's everything against them, and we proved last year, and Rahmer's proved before, if you time good against them, you can race against them and beat them. Yeah, it just all goes back to the time trials.
We'll take side-by-side racing over sprint car timing any day, and so we spend May 13th at Port Royal, where the Cars sprinters are up first. The number 119 of Greg Libby started 10th before taking the lead from Tracy Templin on the 14th lap for his second feature win in a row.
No, we like to just keep doing what we're doing right now. When I get up tomorrow morning, I'm going to get out on the same side of the bed as I did the past week and maybe wear the same clothes or something. I don't know. There's something right now that's meshing in this team, and I don't know what it is, but we're just we're hitting what we should hit, and we're doing the right things at the right time, and hopefully we can keep doing them.
The Port Royal regulars warm up as we say hello to Craig Eschenauer. Fortunately, cameraman Fred was on the ball. Eschenauer will qualify the same racer and finish 5th in the feature. The 4th turn at the Port remains our favorite spot to view the super sprinters. Rick Hench started up front and is in search of his first sprint car win. Mark Freeland flips. A second view shows leader Rick Hench barely slipping by. The red allowed Lance DeWeese to start on Hench's bumper. But Rick drives his heart out.
Boy, in the first lap, it looked like you had a rocket ship under you.
Well, a friend of mine taught me that move. I don't know if you ever saw Todd Schaefer do that or not, but I learned that from him.
Tell you what, most drivers, when they pull into victory lane, they're all out of steam. Boy, you weren't out of any here. A very jubilant winner.
Now I'm pretty well revved up. This is so emotional for me. It's my favorite racetrack in the country, and to win here and to beat the finest sprint car driver in the country, Lance Dewease. Boy, this means the world to me. I spent my life savings to do this with John and Sally Obama Burger. I've been coming here since I was a kid, watching all my favorites do this, and man, I can't tell you how happy I am. And
well, you know, we talked to you in Victory Lane here before at Port Royal Speedway, but never behind the wheel of a sprint car. This first one, I'm sure they'll get a little easier now, Rick.
Boy, I hope, and there's nothing like this. There's nothing a guy that lives, eats, and sleeps this can put on top of something like this. This is a dream come true, coming here and watching my favorites, Mitch Smith and Keith Kaufman. When I was a little kid, I'd leave here like these guys here. On the way home, I'd say, man, how do they do that? If I could ever do that, that'd be all I'd ever want to do. We did her. Thanks a lot, and I really want to thank the fans on that red. There was quite a few of you out there pulling for me. And do me a favor, if you enjoyed the race, go home and tell a friend. Bring someone with you next week and tell them how good it was, because without you people, we couldn't do what we spent a lifetime to try to do, and that's win at Port Royal. Thank you.
67-year-old Jimmy Schaefer will be out of action for a while with a back injury suffered 1 week ago when he left the port in this high-speed crash. Although Jimmy walked out of the hospital after a couple days, it could well be the end of the circuit's longest career. May 19th, Williams Grove. Western PA's Rod George has been an impressive regular here this year. Mike Wagner, 55, leads as Lance Dewease slips past the bumping Fred Raymer and Todd Schaefer into second. Ironically, it's Dewease who blows a tire. Raymer moves back into second before taking the lead from Wagner on the 17th lap. Wagner fell to fourth as the 21 of Rod George almost nips Schaefer for second at the finish. The Super Sportsmen make their second Grove appearance of the year. That's Sean Keane. Dave Berkheimer is known as the Crayola Kid because of his colorful race cars. Tonight the number 5 is fast as well, as it's Dave's first Super Sportsman win ever.
Heck of a job tonight, Dave.
Oh, thanks. I couldn't believe it. The car felt great from lap 1. I couldn't believe I had the lead. I knew all I had to do was not make a mistake and I'd win.
May 20th, the green is out at Lincoln. Bill Case rolls. Fred Raymer dropped out, which allowed Cliff Bryan an easy time of it on his way to his first Lincoln win. Also on May 20th, Craig Eschenauer is among 24 sprinters ready to do it Port Royal style. Rick Hench tangles with Darrell Steimling before Jess Thomas piles in. Todd Schaefer takes the lead from the number 2 of Will Kramer, who is battling hood problems. Lance Dewease finished a closing second as Todd has a tire going down. Here, the 88 needs a tow from Victory Lane. The Cars sprinters are up next. Rusty Presley will be okay, but the car will not. The 08 of Jason Claus leads. Moon Mullen jumps the cushion. Wade Kemp was running second. Brooke Webley also has problems with the 10. The number 95 of Mike Lehman is hassling Claus, finally taking the winning position with just 2 laps to go.
Most important, those last 2 laps.
Yeah, Jason was going pretty good there. I didn't think we were going to get by him. Then after that last red there, started to work pretty good in the bottom, and it worked.
I had to notice that you and Jason Claus were both looking for that first win of the 95 season. Of course, car looked real good in the heat race and seemed to be working pretty good in the feature event, too. You two were the top of the class there.
Yeah, the car was working good. I'd like to thank Bob Cunningham and Bill Henderson and Pete Hondrew and my dad. I said, man, we had a last couple, like last month here has been pretty rough. This is the first feature we qualified for in a month. We were breaking its motors, and boy, it feels good.
May 23rd, the World of Outlaws encompass all kinds of talent. Their Pennsylvania swing begins in the western part of the state. The concentrated one-day high-paying midweek Lernerville shows traditionally draw Western PA's largest racing crowds. Although the WOO's lineup procedure appears to be an attempt to eliminate all feature passing, it doesn't always work. The number 5 of Mark Kinzer and the number 11 of Cousin Steve started up front, but did swap the lead among themselves before the king of sprint car racing remounts his throne after an ill-fated Winston Cup career.
Well, I'll tell you, Steve, you had a lot of fans here rooting for you tonight. Everybody was calculating along the way, would this be the round that you would step into victory lane? The king's back on the throne.
Well, let's just that's just one. Let's see if we can consistently run up toward the front, which we've been doing that a little bit, but we're still getting outran a little bit. But I tell you, I got some good Scots behind me, and I got guys I've worked with before with me and Carl and stuff, and we got a good race team. And again, I want to thank Quaker State, Mac Tools, Goodyear Tires, and just everybody that helps this race team.
The Williams Grove World of Outlaw crowds are not bad either. It's May 26th. Jeff Swindell, number 7, and Randy Hannigan. Tim Hershey shows Steve Kinzer the fast way around. The best make mistakes. Andy Hillenberg dumps it. Lance Blevins and Joe Gertie score a late hit, but all continued to race. Randy Hannigan backs it in. Blevins scores another late hit. Both cars are out this time, but everyone is okay. Mark Kinzer started up front and stayed there until spinning against the lap car of Len Thompson. Steve Kinzer made it 2 straight, leading Jack Howdenshield for the balance of the 30 laps. May 27th and beautiful scenery at Lincoln. Tim Eldrith makes one of his many visits to the wall after contact with Steve Siegel. It's by far the best racing of the week, thanks to points handicapping. Steve Siegel goes on from his 12th starting spot to take first with some drama from the number 10 of Jeff Thompson on the 9th lap. Kenny Adams, number 59, who started 13th, has moved into 2nd and now 1st, but not for long. The first 2 finishers advanced a total of 25 positions before exchanging the lead among themselves 3 times. Now that's racing Central Pennsylvania style. Steve Siegel remained cool for his 19th career Lincoln win.
How about that Kenny Adams? He's tough, ain't he?
I tell you what. You knew he was going to try it. You knew he was going to try it a bunch of times. There, it's just one of those nights, and it's the beauty of dirt tracks, I guess. Wasn't a lot of room to maneuver out there in the right spot. You took the spot, but he was doing everything he could to get around.
Yeah, if he'd have, well, actually, if it would have been down just a little bit where he could have got a little bit more bite coming off over there, he'd have probably smoked by me. So I kept trying to move down to prevent it, saying, well, maybe he'll think I'm going to the bottom and he won't slide me, but that don't stop him. He's a hell of a competitor, man. I mean, he's tough.
The car sprinters will be almost as interesting as the regulars tonight. Hank Katz gets into turn 3 hot on the last lap of his heat. Hank Katz gets into turn 1 hot on the first lap of the Consi. It took the number 33 of Bill Albright several laps to get under and past leader Tracy Templin, number 90. A late race restart changed the complexion of this event when second-place Templin spun, allowing point leader Danny Jones a clear shot at Albright. While Bill hangs on to become the 8th different cars winner in 9 events this season.
Well, I tell you what, on any given night, and I tell you what, last couple of laps there, you had to know who was behind you there. We had a couple of cars get together, and all of a sudden there's Dan. Dan's the points leader. You know he's going to be after you. And what were you thinking that last couple of laps?
I was just hoping I could stand on it as hard as I could. He's very strong for 2 years of running with us. That man has definitely got his act together. He's a very smooth racer and clean racer.
May 29th, it's feature time at Selinsgrove as they celebrate 50 years of racing on Memorial Day. Troy Long holds off Bob Bennett and Todd Schaefer. Here, Schaefer, who started 12th, ducks under both Long and Bennett to lead the 6th circuit. Bennett was running second when he tangled with the lapped car of Kevin Kratzer. Todd Schaefer perhaps still has those outlaw blues in victory lane.
This car was super. The track dried out, but I tell you what, it was a weird kind of day. I thought we were going to be swimming here on the front stretch earlier, and it didn't rain a drop, and looks like it's lightning now, but the track did dry out, but other than that, it looked like it'd be in pretty good shape.
Yeah, the track was perfect. I mean, if you were good, you could pass. It was slick, but you just had to be hooked up.
The World of Outlaws come to Grandview on May 30th. Dave Hahn was the night's only flipper. Dave continued. Jack Haudenschild, number 22, takes the lead from pole sitter Mark Kinzer. Steve Kinzer moves into second as lap traffic forces multi-grooves into the fast Little Bull Ring. Steve fails to catch the Hod, who collects $6,000. It's the Wild Child's 4th win of the Outlaw season. Goodbye. The Outlaws make a one-night stand, make that a two-day stand at Lincoln on June 3rd and 4th. Andy Hillenberg is in trouble again. Len Thompson rides the rail. The fans waited through 3.5 hours of rain and time trial delays. And now we have more flips. Another view of Cliff Bryan's triple in turn 1. Although it's Sunday morning, Greg Hodnett was allowed time to rebuild his racer on the second turn. After the mysterious favor, Greg still failed to qualify. It was the first time Greg missed a Woo feature in 2 years. The time trials and dash should in theory eliminate all feature passing, and this morning it gets the job done as Steve Kinzer leads every inch. Here's Steve. Wait, where's Steve? Oh well, who cares? June 4th, Selinsgrove avails its Sunday night rain date. Joey Boritz had his front end clipped off by another racer before taking down some fencing along with the signal light. It's the 4th time Herm Bryam's 4th turn signals have bit the dust already this season. There are better days ahead for Joey, who recently lost his father in a work accident. Will Kramer, Rod George, and Lance DeWeese crash. All 3 of the recent feature winners were out for the night. Troy Long, 12, leads the feature over Craig Eschenauer and Jimmy Nace. Nace is now second as Eschenauer is slowing, make that stopping with tire problems. Craig came back for a 5th place finish, which may not have been appreciated by Jeff Taylor. Jeff, who has been racing with his leg in a cast from a previous flip at the same spot, has been impressive lately. Hopefully, the number 17 will soon find victory lane and pay some bills. The number 6 of Jimmy Nace finally takes the lead from Troy Long on the 18th lap for his 3rd feature win on the season here at Selinsgrove, talking to Jeff Ulrich in victory lane.
Troy Long's really been consistent here this year, and someday he's going to be the guy I think you're going to be chasing around here. He really gets out front there, and he's tough to catch.
Troy's going to have his day here, and more than one of them. He's really running super nice, and he's just getting started and keeps a good line, and it's a pleasure to race with him. It's fun to pass him, but I know one day he's going to win, and but we aren't going to let him win until he wins.
June 9th, Darren Ace chews pit side before giving up the feature lead to his brother Chris at Williams Grove. Another spin for Lance DeWeese. Tim Dietz makes sure Lance is done. Chris Ace goes on for his first Grove win of the season. The Cars sprints are always exciting. Jim Layton's first time behind the wheel of a sprinter took this turn for the worse in warm-ups. Rich Nye caught a tire during heat race competition. Dave Ely and Tom Mayberry both flipped during the Consi.
Several cars flipping violently.
And now Jimmy Stitzel during the feature. It doesn't take Mike Lehman long for his second Cars win. Mike takes the lead from the 17 of Denny Garl before becoming speechless in the Williams Grove victory lane. Port Royal, June 13th. Dennis Chetwood rented the Stroup racer on some sort of dare. The Weed Man caught the rail and some air during time trials but was not seriously injured. The All-Star Circuit of Champions feature event is underway. Mr. Excitement Todd Schaefer also works over the second turn fencing. All-Star Danny Coggeshell is another racer who is always on and often over the edge. Port Royal's favorite, Lance DeWeese, takes the first position from the U2 of All-Star Kenny Jacobs on the 16th lap. It's the third All-Star win in as many tries for Lance, who further secures his ride in victory lane.
So I'd like to thank my car owner and his wife and, you know, the whole crew, because it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to stand here in victory lane and blow off at the mouth some. But I tell you what, I made a mistake last Friday. I only know one perfect person in this world, and that's Walter Dyer.
June 14th, the All-Star Western Pennsylvania Speed Week officially kicks off at the beautiful Challenger Speedway near Indiana, PA. Jim Farmer heavily damages his racing equipment during warm-ups. Ed Lynch gets a bite during time trials. Over 40 sprinters will perform on the low-dust racing surface. It will be quite a show. Craig Rankin is having problems in turn 3 during his heat race. Craig did manage to qualify. Trouble on the backstretch. Another view of Chris Pisciro's feature roll. The number 6 of Bob Thelmley led for 26 laps. That's when the U2 of Kenny Jacobs took a lead he would not relinquish. Tim Schaefer now challenges Thelmley for second. The second place argument leads to contact on the front stretch. Thelmley continues on, but Schaefer does not. Meanwhile, Mark Casella, number 77, has been making more progress than friends. Craig Rankin is backwards in turn 3 again. As Jacobs wins, Casella manages to slip past Felmley for second just before the checkered in front of the full house.
Kenny Jacobs, it was on the 23rd lap when you moved into the lead. Some people say sometimes it's better to be in second place and evaluate the situation. You have a little better control of the event. Is that true?
Well, a lot of times it is better being second, I guess. I didn't want to be there all night. I was trying to get the lead the whole race, so I wasn't waiting for anything. I was just trying to get the lead.
June 15th. Randy Hammer takes a detour at Hickory Speedway near Newcastle as Western PA Speed Week continues. Tonight's show was marred by excessive time trial delays that would not allow the first heat of the midweek show to start until almost 9 o'clock. Also a dusty infield, which for some reason was never watered. There was, however, plenty to watch once the sprinters finally took to the wide quarter mile. Randy Kriegisch was the only flip victim. The First Lady of Western PA Racing may be Linda Fennell. Here Linda tries to wake up the officials. The Hughes 94 of Dale Blaney runs down and passes the 77 of Joey Saldana, who has been leading from the pole. Dale went on to record his 9th All-Star win of the season, collecting $4,000 in the process. June 16th, Brian Paulus grabs the lead in the first of Twin 20s back east at Williams Grove. Fast Freddie Raymer has the hammer down, taking second here from the 10 of Len Thompson. Tim Dietz is the new driver of the Weikert 29. Here Tim avoids being lapped. Raymer followed Paulus very briefly before slipping under the 28 down the backstretch. DeWeese would finish second with Paulus hanging in there for third and his best ever Grove finish. Trouble on the start as Mark Richards suffers one of his rare crashes. Great driving by the field kept this from being much worse, and Mark was A-OK. The second 20-lapper again finds Raymer taking the lead, this time from the 10 of Len Thompson. Lance DeWeese also works past Thompson and into second. Young Thompson is a racer, and he does not like being passed. DeWeese did take the lead midway through the event, but only for one lap, as Raymer battles back to make a clean sweep of the Twin 20s tonight at the Grove. Freddie joins Van May as the only drivers to ever pull off the double.
Two more wins, $4,400. Aren't you glad you didn't go to Lernerville?
Yeah, you know, we'd like to be out there, but the fans here are great, and I hope tonight, you know, Lance got me there and that I started to drag my feet a little bit. The top got way far around there, and I started getting bashful getting in, I guess, and he showed me I better get on the gas, so I picked it back up a little bit, and we were lucky to win her.
June 17th, Selinsgrove. A sprint car doubleheader is on tap. Glenn Fitzcharles lost a wheel, and things got worse from there. Despite a hard hit from Bill Glenn, Fitzcharles would return minutes later to finish third in the URC feature. Number 5, Craig Eschenauer dives under Troy Long and into the lead. Craig continued to lead until the 21st lap when he blew a tire, allowing Jimmy Nace his 4th win of the season at Selinsgrove. While Nace takes the checkered, runner-up Billy Sims loses his position on the final turn. The United Racing Club makes its first appearance at Selinsgrove in several years, bringing out the largest crowd of the season so far. The 76 of Tom Warner took the lead early for his first sprint win since 1990.
This year, as compared to the past couple of years, has been even more competitive. I think there's a lot of guys in URC right now that'll actually win, you know, on any given night. Kramer is real consistent. Glenn has a lot of experience. He's pretty consistent too. But some of the other younger guys are really doing well. I'm impressed. Makes it harder for me. I feel almost like an old timer now.
June 18th, we rejoin the All-Stars Western PA Speed Week. Danny Coggeshell is still passing through his frequent crashing stage. The beautiful Sportsman Speedway near Knox, just off Route 80, is currently the only home of weekly Sunday night sprint car racing in the state. Two of Western PA's own, the white number 6 of Bob Felmley and the 27 of Craig Rankin, duel for the feature lead with $5,000 on the line. The fastest car may be the 94 of Dale Blaney, who is on his way to the Western PA Speed Week Point Championship. Dale does run into some problems tonight before coming back to finish 6th as Felmley rallies support for recovering driver Chuck Ward in Victory Lane.
Yes, I guess we're going to donate at least $100 to Chuck Ward. And Lernerville is also going to donate an extra $100 for Chuck Ward. And Sam said Sportsman's stepping up too for an extra 100, so good for Chuck.
Also on June 18th, the Central PA Sprinters are mixing it up 29 cars strong at Modified Country's Penn National. Lock up the Bulls as J.R. Seneff brings out the red flag. Billy Pouch is Penn National's all-time winningest driver, and tonight he does it in a sprint car. June 20th, Port Royal. The green is out for the Super Sportsman. John Stoner runs into trouble. You can get out now, John. Tim White takes second from the yellow 14 of Chris Reed. And now the lead from Bill Schaafstall on lap 4. The yellow 55 of Tom Hacksaw makes it to the front on lap 11. Here comes Donnie Beaver, number 10, from deep in the pack. Donnie took the top spot with 5 laps to go. Leave it to Beaver.
Started back there in 15th spot. When did you know you had a winning car under you?
I don't know. During that red flag, I really wasn't sure how fast I was. My crew told me that it was really fast. I was gaining a lot of positions there coming off the corner, and they said it was really hooked up. So everybody's so strung out, I really couldn't see. And once we come back to green, it went really well.
Of course, the sprinters are part of the show, which was completed at 10:15. Fred Raymer just can't get a handle on Port Royal. Carl Baker leads over the 66 of Mark Richard. Richard takes the lead, but not for long. Watch inside for sneaky Lance DeWeese. DeWeese led until the final turn when the 88 of Mr. Excitement, Todd Schaefer, scores what perhaps could be called an upset. Big Block Weaver prepares as Path Valley opens the rain-battered Central PA Speed Week. The green drops for warm-ups, and it doesn't take long. Chris Stevens is okay, but out for the night. The green drops again. This time, J.R. Seneff is over. J.R. is okay and not out for the night. Right on J.R. Feature time, and the white 16 of leader Cliff Bryan is under pressure from the 12 of Fred Raymer. Lap traffic brings the lead change, and now there's more lap traffic as Raymer is being pressured by the number 1 of Billy Pouch.
Side by side into turn number 1. Raymer has the advantage out of turn 2. Lap traffic, Billy Pouch working on the inside, Raymer on the outside. Pouch the race leader.
Jeff Rohrbal tumbles hard. Chris Ace meets Donnie Kreitz.
to the back end of Billy Pouch. Working to turn number 3. Raymer working on the outside. Pouch up high, side by side into turn number 1. Billy Pouch working on the outside, continues to show the way. Raymer runs second. Billy Pouch.
Speed Week continues Thursday night at the sweeping half-mile Penn National Speedway. Tim Kuhn will soon visit the wing store. Jeff Rohrbaugh does it again after hitting a crossed-up Len Thompson. Leader Craig Eschenauer is holding off the 17 of Alan Cole and the 19 of Steve Smith. Now Craig is not holding off the 461 of Lance Deweese. Lance took over on the 26th of the 30 laps. Eschenauer held on for second. July 1st, Cars Sprints are at Lincoln. There goes rookie Todd Reed. Todd is learning fast. There goes another number 80, Butch Richcreek. The number 119 of Greg Libby takes first from Brooke Wadley on an 11th lap restart for his 4th Cars win of the season. The new video tower gives us a great view of all the action here at Lincoln. The ARDC Midgets were an appreciated addition to tonight's show. Trouble on the back chute. That's Hank Rogers flipping. Hank had a sore neck but was okay. Rookie Gene Borger, number 74, is leading, but 62-year-old veteran Doug Craig is going to change that. Borger comes back to lead briefly on the 14th lap, but has lost his power steering, and it's Doug Craig leading to the checkered for his 2nd ARDC win of the season. Also on July 1st, Speed Week continues at Selinsgrove. John Becker wads one up without injury. Bobby Landis's troubles began on the drop of the feature green. Bobby cannot afford to have his sprinter burn up, so he enthusiastically extends an invitation to anybody who will help put out the fire. Who says white men can't jump? Lincoln's Fred Raymer beat out Selinsgrove regular Jimmy Nace for his first Speed Week win. July 2nd, Speed Week moves to Susquehanna. Scott Carl spins, and both leader Fred Raymer and second place Bill Bryan have close calls. It's a time trial classic in favor of Fred Raymer, who leads every lap for his 2nd Speed Week win. The Super Sportsmen always join the card at Susky. Darrell Schaefer will return to competition later. Darnell Markley gives up the feature lead to the 99 of Scott Grace. Markley goes from 2nd to last on the 10th lap as Frankie Herm moves into 2nd. Scott Grace keeps her straight for his first career win.
And how does this one feel? It feels awesome. I tell you, it's been a long time coming, a couple years working in the garage every day of the week and spending all your money, and it finally comes true. Unbelievable.
Lincoln, July 3rd, the Speed Week finale is on tap. Jeff Rohrbaugh has one of his better Speed Week efforts. An 8-car inversion, but Bill Bryan does lead every lap as Fred Raymer's 2nd place finish garnishes him the Speed Week crown.
Yeah, Central PA is probably the toughest area in the whole country to run sprint cars. You run top 5 here, you can probably win just about anywhere else, most nights. And Yeah, I like running here. You learn a lot from these guys. You have Fred and Todd Schaefer, Kreitz, Lance, and everybody runs real hard, but everybody gives each other room. And with that, you learn a lot and you come up through. And when other people come in, you got a good advantage.
Kenny Jacobs U2 takes the lead from Bobby Davis as we peek over at Ohio Speed Week, opening night July 2nd on the high banks of Eldora. Joey Saldana also moves past Davis into second.
Joey Saldana. Here comes Keith Kaufman in a 1 car. Or Blaney, rather. Blaney in 94. Blaney now running 4th.
The 3 leaders held their position for most of the race until just 2 laps to go.
Can he get by? Jacobs holds him off. Here comes Blaney. It's going to be a 3-car race. Right now it's Joey Saldana. Kenny Jacobs. Here comes Blaney. The white flag.
So it's Joey Saldana home first to open the 13th annual Ohio Speed Week with his 10th All-Star win of the season. Ohio Speed Week continues Monday night at Buckeye.
Here we go.
Butch Schroeder meets the competition, and then the truck tires.
And the red flag going to come out. Watch him set him up in 4. Green flag's out. Here we go. Through 1 and 2, off 2 down the back straightaway. Kerr, the 23. Grabs the top spot through 3 and 4. Schrum runs second. Blaney third.
Frankie Kerr took the lead at the start and led every lap of the Time Trial Classic. We wind up our Ohio coverage at the scenic Portsmouth Speedway on Wednesday night, July 4th. Denny Coggeshall always tests the high groove. Tracy Hoover is not enjoying the scenery during warm-ups. Another Time Trial Classic. This time it's the 77 of Joey Saldana leading every lap as second place Keith Kaufman loses a tire. Despite not winning a single feature, consistent Dale Blaney was Ohio's Speed Week champ. Beam us back to Williams Grove, Scotty. July 7th. First heat problems for Alan Cole. Kevin Gobrecht hits hard. Craig Eschenauer has a large lead. The race for second changes drastically as Rick Hench crosses up in front of Steve Siegel. Todd Schaefer skirts the tangle into second as Rick has a hissy. The restart, and Todd makes his patented move in turn 1. But wait, Billy Pouch, number 1, finally wins his first Grove feature of the season by passing Todd Schaefer on the 14th lap. Rich Carnathan is among the large field of cars sprinters, also Grove side tonight. While the 50 of Brian Seidel leads, the number 8 of Danny Jones finds his way around this 4th turn pileup, which overturns Randy Ruth. Like Pouchy before him, Jones would go on to take the lead on the 14th lap for his 3rd Cars win of 95. Selinsgrove, July 8th. Rod Stroup spins and Craig Keel goes for a ride. Jeff Taylor also rolls. Everyone is okay. It took Jimmy Nace 22 laps to run down the 55 of leader Billy Sims, but the perennial point champion got the job done for his 5th Selinsgrove win of the season. Jimmy Martin is among 44 sprinters meeting at Selinsgrove as part of the United Racing Club Empire Super Sprint Challenge. Dave McGuff, number 669, and Craig Keel, back from his flip in regular sprint competition, were involved in the race for the lead. Late in the race, Jimmy Martin flipped as several flat tires affected front runners. Kramer Williamson came out of nowhere to lead the last 3 laps.
Well, you had to come from the middle of the pack, and of course, I guess you're used to that when you're right here in central Pennsylvania. Selinsgrove is kind of like a home track to use 25 career feature wins here, and you know how to get around this track.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's been a while since I really run up here, but just something about this racetrack I always done good at here, you know.
July 13th, the sportsmen meet at Penn National under a dark cloud as we have just lost Harold Wyke to a heart attack. Harold raced for fun, and nobody raced harder. From wild slides to his friendly smile, Harold will be highly missed by the racing community. Appropriately, as Harold did so many times, Harold's nephew Tim Wyke led the feature for 7 laps until another number 1, that of Billy Crawford, moved by on the inside. Now we have the 12 of Ken Carberry on the outside, taking the lead position on the 14th lap and maintaining it to the end. It's Ken's second career Penn National sportsman win. July 14th, Bill Heckert, who has to be at work by midnight, leads the sportsman feature at Williams Grove. Rich Eichelberger sets the standard for Tommy Tipovers. As the race approaches the 2 to go sign, Heckert continues to lead over Tim Wyke and the 30 of Smokey Snellbaker. When Heckert slipped high with less than a mile to go, both Wyke and Snellbaker slipped past. Smokey, whose brother passed away the night before, beats Wyke to the checkered for an emotional win.
It's strange the way God works. You don't really know what's going to happen in your life. But there was nothing I can do about him taking my brother from me last night. And I talked to his son yesterday, and I said, do you think it'd be all right if I raced tonight? He said, well, you know, your brother was really one of your best fans, and he said, go out and kick their butts for my brother, and I did it.
The sprinters cut loose. Will Kramer breaks a wheel. Bert Shoup may want lessons at his driving school. Jeff Rohrball has more serious problems. Todd Schaefer took the lead from the 59 of Jesse Wentz for his first Grove win of the season. July 15th. The heat wave is peaking as we visit Silver Spring, where 57 super sportsmen packed the pits. Tim Wyke returned to competition later after his first turn adventures. Jeremy Trout was another flip victim. Very few of the 25 feature laps did not include a side-by-side duel for the lead. Glenn Yackel is the star here in number 9. First, it was the number 59 of Steve Wilbur keeping the pressure on Glenn for 15 laps. That's when Leroy Martin, number 66, moved into second, but like Steve, could not get past Yackel, whose Ford-powered racer was strong on the bottom off the turns. For the second night in a row, the sportsmen produce a winning pass with less than 2 laps to go, as the number 1 of Bob Fantasy, who started 12th, gets the job done in the thrilling points-handicapped competition. July 16th, new territory, as the Empire Super Sprints make their annual appearance at the Eras Speedway near Lake Erie in Hammett. A large crowd is in the stands, which we are told is not unusual here. After a few minor mix-ups, the number 3 of Mark Bragman ends a 4-year winless streak, leading all 20 feature laps. July 18th, Thunder on the Hill at Grandview. Fresh off a Lincoln win, Brian Monteith finishes last tonight. Fred Raymer will finish next to last. The 18th lap, Lance DeWeese takes first from the X of Bobby Weaver. Lap 25, Billy Pouch takes the lead and holds on for his 5th Grandview win in the 19-race history of Thunder on the Hill. Here's Billy with the girls, including the winner of the Thunderwear competition. The United Racing Club visits Williams Grove on July 21st. Scott Cahill and Kevin White both have rough times during warm-ups, but are okay. Kevin Kelly made it to his heat race. Another view shows it's a double, as Billy Ellis also dumps. Shawn Michael, number 26, takes the lead on the third lap from Paul Moles, who is losing his steering box. Glenn Clark's driving the number 54 tonight, taking the lead from Shawn on the 9th circuit. Clark slips high on the 16th lap, and now Kramer Williamson, who started 11th, leads. The yellow 28, driven by Glenn Fitzcharles, is racing hard to break the all-time URC feature win record held by Dave Kelly. Glenn got crossed up late in the race. Greg Coverdale played push truck before rolling over, allowing Glenn to maintain his position and make a final lap run on winner Williamson. The Grove regulars are running for $10,000 tonight in the Mitch Smith Memorial. Time trials robbed the Grove crowd of its usual opportunity to see a hard-driving underdog go for it. Billy Pouch backs into the first turn fence on the start, ending his evening early. Fred Raymer led on the restart, but we did get a pass for first when the 461 of Lance Deweese made this move on the 16th of the 30 laps. More often than not, Port Royal produces the wildest show of the year. Such is the case on July 22nd. Rick Hench gets the ball rolling. When Rick goes, he doesn't mess around. Rick is A-OK. Will Kramer's flip is much briefer. Perry County drivers continue to hog the screen as rookie Mark Richard runs off with his first sprint car win.
Well, Mark, with the red flags and that, was there many changes made to the car?
Absolutely none. Actually, the car was like on a rail there at that red flag there with Rick down here, and I said, just let it alone. Don't bother to change it. If I can keep it straight, they're going to have a heck of a time passing us. The only thing that worried me was the time bombs out there with the lap cars. I mean, they really get hectic after a while.
Well, you know, Mark, every restart that you took off, you pretty much ran away and hid from the rest of the field. Of course, when you can run away and hide from Todd Schaefer and Lance Deweese, that's saying something.
Well, I'm glad they were here. That's all I got to say.
The cars sprint slide by as we tape from our favorite spot at Port Royal. Darrell Steimling, running both sprint classes tonight, tears up the rear in his car's sprinter. We changed positions for the Consi, which was a good idea since Vance Berry landed in our favorite spot after this flip, which left him with a broken knee and ribs. The Sitco 21 of Judge Shepard started sixth and took the lead from Tom Waltman on the 4th circuit before opening up a large lead for his first Cars Armaclad Sprint win.
I can remember a couple races back, I wasn't so fortunate for Judge Shepard. He took a nasty flip down the backstretch, but that's all behind you now, and hopefully you'll be on your way to more wins.
Yeah, that crash is definitely an eye-opener, and it made me get things in perspective and how fast we are and what we have to do to win races, and I guess it's paying off.
Billy Pouch's modified efforts did not pay off July 23rd at Penn National. Kenny Brightville holds off these race-ending challenges as presented by Tom Mayberry in a near-photo finish. It's the defending point champ's 4th Penn National win of the year. July 26th, the All-Stars bring sprint car racing back to Ohio's Expo Speedway for the first time in 12 years. It's a big, fast racetrack. Post-crash tie raid courtesy of Tim Kuhn. Time trials start the fastest right up front. Kenny Jacobs and Dale Blaney are way gone off the front row. It's Kenny's 7th All-Star win of the season. Blaney settled for first loser honors. July 28th, Jimmy Hawley is very much out of shape at Williams Grove. As the 29 of Tim Dietz leads the feature down the backstretch, Craig Eschenauer and Bill Bryan tangle wildly in turn 3. As Dietz attempts to lap Jeff Thompson, the pair cannot avoid minor involvement in the incident. Meanwhile, Craig and Bill are okay, but not exactly flying frisbees for peace together. Todd Schaefer inherited the lead after the 8th lap crash, but the 12 of Fred Raymer is closing in until bumping the fence with 5 laps to go. Fast Freddy again closed ground, but it's Mr. Excitement's second Grove win of the season. July 29th, Tom Waltman bicycles as the Cars sprints take to Lincoln. Kevin Gobrecht's brother Brian has also moved up from the micros. Randy Davis tangles with the 7 of Dave Allman. That's Jan Opperman Jr. in number 68. 38 Cars sprinters and a little too much action. The 33 of Bill Albright takes the lead from Moon Mullen and joins Mike Lehman and Greg Libby as 3-time winners so far in 1995. Kevin Gobrecht leads the Lincoln regulars. Chris Aish catches the wall, and Dan Dietrich catches Aish. Raymer makes his usual entertaining Lincoln charge, but comes up one short, as it's Kevin Gobrecht's first sprint win.
Fred tried a couple of times. Did you ever hear him right there?
I heard him a couple of times, then I seen him down here in 3 and 4. When he didn't make that pass, I was just hoping that I got a little bit of an edge on him. When he came off that corner, I might have a little bit of breathing room. And then his lap cars came up, and I just lucky I didn't get to feel my run the cushion, because if I had to get off the cushion, that might have been a different story.
Of course, no sprint car tape would be complete without footage from Eldura's Kings Royal. Jack Haudenschild leapfrogs Ed Lynch. 54 sprinters will push it to the limit for $50,000 to win. Jeff Shepard's flip also took out Mark Kinzer. Dave Blaney, number 10, ducks under the leader Mark Casella on his way to his second crowning as king of the Royale. July 30th, Craig Eschenauer, number 5, takes the lead from Phil Walter at Selinsgrove. Jess Thomas just wants a copy of the video. Mark Freeland also loses a left front during this special Sunday night 50th anniversary race. While running third, Lance DeWeese blew a right rear. Eschenauer pulled away from Fred Raymer to become the 13th different feature winner at very competitive Selinsgrove this year. Also on July 30th, the Super Sportsmen are at Penn National. Bob Fantasy and Mike Irwin have qualifying problems. It was the 13th lap of the feature when the black racer of Dave Newman took the long way around Mark Zimmerman to gain the lead. It would be Dave's second Super Sportsman win of the 95 season, the other occurring a couple weeks ago at Silver Spring. August 1st, the Outlaws are back at Lernerville. Switching back and forth from super trucks must have Sammy confused. Empire Super Sprint racer Mike Woodring flips during the B main. You okay, Mike? The Canary Yellow 71 of Stevie Smith led every lap, as Mark Kinzer did similar with second. Stevie's Silver Cup check is worth $28,000. August 3rd, Billy Pouch led the Outlaws at Williams Grove until just 4 laps to go when Dave Blaney, number 10, made this winning pass complete with slight contact around a lapped car. Dave talks about the slightly unpopular pass in Victory Lane.
Well, we both tried to squeeze on the outside of a lap car, and I was coming up across the middle, and he was trying to keep me from doing it, and we got to the same place just about the same time.
Jeff Thompson gets to the same place as the rail. The Outlaws are back at the Grove on August 4th. Dave Blaney once again took the lead from Pouch before Pouch pulled off with a flat tire. A second pass for the lead is rare in time trial lineups, but Mark Kinzer gets the job done on the 13th lap. Mark went on to give Pouch the finest possible compliment from an outlaw.
The car worked really good. I guess I might have got Blaney back for all the Pouch fans out there. Last night they had a good race. That's just part of racing. Anytime you're on the inside of your competitor, that's your line. And if they don't lift, that's kind of their fault. But Pouch, he don't like to lift for nobody. Not for me, not for Blaney, not for Steve. He just don't lift.
August 5th, Jerry Strauser doesn't lift for Johnny Murphy. Silver Spring has the best coffee on the circuit. It's ironic since you seldom need it. 14 qualifying events, including 7 for over 50 super sportsmen, and feature time is 9:30. The number 07 of Bill Shopstall is the third different leader, and Danny Hager will soon be the fourth. Hager pads his point lead with his third spring win of the season.
You never know what it's going to be like in this class. There's so many cars, and it's so competitive, and just everybody that's even starting is fast anymore. But it's really great to win here, and anytime we can win, we're really happy.
August 6th, we rejoin the World of Outlaws at Lincoln. Stevie Smith loses a tire on the start of the feature, and Jesse Wentz personifies the inevitable. Jack Howdenchild was racing for second before getting into Randy Hannigan and then the wall. The Wild Child would return to finish ninth. Dave Blaney started on the pole and led every lap of the Time Trial Classic. August 7th, the Outlaws make a rare New Jersey stop at Bridgeport. 38 racers were a pleasant surprise. Another angle of the double flip featuring Jeff Taylor and Bruce Bowen, which left Taylor's car standing on its tail. Taylor continued. Last year's Syracuse Outlaw winner Billy Pouch, who races modifieds here, opened a giant lead early in the feature before screwing up with the lap car of Bob Bennett. On the restart, Pouchy headed for the swamp after again making contact with Bennett. Sammy Swindell started second and finished first, claiming the biggest part of Bridgeport's purse for the second year in a row. August 9th, USAC is at Eldora for its second visit of the year, and this time it will not be so pretty. Joey Kerr crashes in time trials before the full moon appeared. Tim Clark continues the non-wing violence. Dave Darland was leading his heat race. It's a false feature start, fortunately, as Terry Pletch manages to crash anyway. The majority of the field is already slowing down, keeping things from getting worse. Pletch did suffer a broken collarbone. The great side-by-side broad-sliding action continues to be undercut by nasty crashes. Kevin Doty gets into Brad Marvel and Trey House flips. 13 cars would be involved in the 18th lap portion of the carnage. The black racer of Byron Reed is holding off the number 63 of Jack Hewitt. Young Byron just went to the head of the class with his first wingless win and his first USAC win. Not all of the wild stuff is reserved for the wingless as the super sprinters approach super speedway speeds at Eldora. Kevin Huntley is okay. Joey Saldana, number 77, takes the lead from Charlie Fisher during the August 10th All-Star feature. With 3 laps to go, Saldana has this one in the bag. Oh no, little Joe, say it isn't so. Kenny Jacobs inherits the win, his 8th of the All-Star season. August 11th. Craig Eschenauer's bad luck may be changing as he leads every lap of the Williams Grove feature, which included a close shave with the spinning racer of Jess Thomas.
Well, you have led so many laps at this place, and something always seemed to go wrong. Mechanical problems, crashes, just general bad luck. And tonight, finally, how are you feeling right now?
I tell you what, I couldn't get excited till I got the checkered. We've been here 2 laps to go, running away, and something would break, and it was I couldn't let up till we were done. Couldn't let myself lose control.
August 12th, the car's sprinters are climbing the walls at Susquehanna. Kevin McNew gets into a spinning Johnny Martin. Danny Jones, number 8, holds off Brian Seidel and Mike Lehman, becoming the first 4-time winner in cars this season and padding his points lead in the process. Here they come, the sprinters at Williams Grove on August 18th, that is. Steve Siegel rounds off some of the corners and is out for the night. Jesse Wentz in trouble. Kevin Gobrecht led the first of twin 20-lap features for 12 laps. That's when Donnie Kreitz makes it to the front for his second Grove win of the season.
Yeah, the car was finally hooked up. You know, it's my job to get the car hooked up, and I haven't done a very good job this year, and the car was working real good tonight.
The second feature produced a popular winner in Dan Dietrich, who, taking the long way around, got past the 07 of Dave Haight with 5 laps to go.
Well, yeah, I started 11th, and then, you know, when I got up there, I wasn't sure who was lap 2, who wasn't. I didn't really think I raced for the lead at any point in time, you know. But then when the race was over, I went through the corner down here, and your 1 and 2 corner flagman was pointing number 1. I thought, nah.
August 29th. Thunder on the Hill at Grandview is 50 laps tonight. Todd Gracie is out for the year with a broken kneecap. Lance Deweese is working the lead from the 55 of Tim Schaefer. Here, Fred Raymer follows Deweese into second. Deweese gets into lap traffic as Raymer now leads over Tim and Todd Schaefer. Todd's night comes to an end after bouncing off lap traffic and then the wall. While others persisted in tailgating lap traffic, Western PA's Tim Schaefer gave the Central Pennsylvania Stars quite a driving lesson as he stayed back a little from lap traffic and then used momentum to pass. Tim went on to take the lead from the damaged racer of Raymer on the 38th lap for the $6,200 win.
Well, I was hoping lap traffic was going my way. I wouldn't be able to touch Freddie otherwise because he was gone the one time I made a mistake. But, you know, as part of racing, I seen his wing come off. I knew he was going to have a little problem, so I just run a little bit harder.
August the 25th. The Cars sprinters of Jeff Wary and Greg Leiby have problems at Williams Grove. Brian Gobrecht jumps the cushion. Mike Lehman continues his tear, scoring his 4th win of the season after taking the lead from the number 4 of Johnny Martin. The regular sprint feature would be highlighted by 5 different leaders. The 17 of Chris Ace takes the front spot from the 85 of Glenn Clark on an early restart. Mark Richard takes over from the 17 of Ace on the 5th lap in points handicap sprint car racing at its best. Richard loses the lead to Todd Schaefer's number 88 several laps later, just before backing into the rail. It's still not over as the number 12 of Fred Raymer completes his winning run from the 11th place starting position by taking the lead on the 15th circuit. Fast Freddie will soon be able to use the $3,000 since his wife Debbie is expecting triplets. August 26th. Over 40 Cars Don't Call Us Limited sprinters are at Lincoln. Danny Jones takes a detour on his way to the Point Championship. The 81 of Bob Beitelman is on his way to his 2nd win of the season after taking the lead from the number 6 of Scott Osherman.
This race I want to dedicate to some friends of mine we just met a month ago from Oklahoma. They come all the way out here to watch sprint car racing in central Pennsylvania, and boy, I couldn't have picked a better night to get hot.
The regulars have trouble on the start. That's Jesse Wentz upside down. They don't call him Fast Freddie for nothing. Raymer came from 17th starting spot to the lead in just 8 laps. With competition and noisy machines, racing is already PIC. Particularly tweakful to new age granola munchers is Beef Night, held this year at Selinsgrove on August 29th. We'll need the welder after Billy Sims' right turn. As Bob Weichert gives away over 10,000 sandwiches, Fred Raymer powers under leader Jimmy Nace on the 10th circuit for another win. Friday, September 1st. Terry Leininger takes one of the most violent spins of the year in sportsman qualifying at Williams Grove. Here's another look. Terry was not only okay, but would win his first feature the next night at Silver Spring. George Ryden goes end for end. Johnny Murphy takes the lead from the number 23 of John Stamen on his way to the Super Sportsman win.
This is only the second time I ever won at Williams Grove. I guess we've been running here about 15 years now or so. I finished second a couple times and won one, but that was about it. And yeah, if you can go fast at Williams Grove, you can go fast anywhere.
The sprinters are hitting hard. Craig Eschenauer into Carl Baker on the start, and Tom Toder into Jess Thomas on turn 3. Williams Grove may have the most lead changes annually of any sprint car track in the country. Tim Dietz goes past the 3 of Bob Bennett. Donnie Kreitz, number 69, takes over from Dietz. But the winner will be the 461 of Lance DeWeese, who started 11th. It's Lance's 10th win of the Grove season. September 2nd will be a long night at Port Royal. Bill Albright is in the wall, and Doug Midori is over the rail as Dakar's sprints take the green. Someone tell Jeff Wary that the thrill show comes to the fair on Wednesday night. Brian Seidel is okay. Mark Yinger will visit the hospital. Once again, it's a broken knee. They did race. The 32 of Brooke Wabley took the lead on the final lap from Tom Frechetta for his second Cars win of the season. Tony Greener returned to run the feature after this bumpy qualifying ride in the regular sprints. Mike Wagner takes his second Port win of the season to the delight of his biggest fan, wife Ellen.
I'll tell you what, I think she worked harder than you did out there this evening. If you'd have seen her in the infield walking around. Now she did quite a driving display in there.
Yeah, I can imagine. She was probably pacing back and forth and just worrying about everything.
Not all the circuit's wilder moments are reserved for the open wheelers. Here's proof as the stock cars get over the edge. To the north, Clinton County presents the sprinters on Friday nights. Here, Carl Walliser takes a spill. Even Lance DeWeese misrolls the corn during an awkward moment at Port Royal. September 3rd, we begin the season finales at Grandview, where the final Thunder Show introduces the Eastern Wingless Sprints of America, which was also a points-paying URC event. Surprise time trials pushed the show back very late and dumped Matt Bruce. Steve Cerniak tried his luck with his Super Sportsman. It was not good. Jerry Denon brought out the only feature red after climbing a tire. Watch the 27 of Billy Ellis as he moves from third to first on the 12th lap. George McGuff and Kramer Williamson are the passees. Ellis held on for his 9th career URC win and also the first ever EWSA feature win. The Labor Day Fair Classic at Port Royal is just that. Somewhere among the dust clouds, Todd Schaefer ran down Mark Richard for his 4th Classic win. After the race, it's time to rush the fair church stand for turkey dinner before heading over to Selinsgrove for the Jack Gunn Memorial. Mark Whitebread loses a tussle with Fred Raymer as the Selinsgrove welder is the busiest on the circuit. Bobby Howard and Rick Hench are the final victims of the magnetic guardrail. Todd Schaefer has been getting consistently faster ever since sitting in the Beam 88, and as the 95 season draws to a close, may be the man to beat. A good Labor Day for Todd as nobody does. Twice. September 8th, the Tuscarora 50 rings down the curtain on the season at Port Royal. Mark Freeland and Chris Ace get off cheap as 40 sprinters fight to qualify. Port fans are loyal to their regulars, and it's a very popular win for 95-point champ Todd Schaefer, who led all 50 laps. Lincoln's PA Championship 40-lapper gets greened on September 9th, where Bill Bryan has already cinched the point championship. Butch Duncan endos. Tim Dietz has no steering left during his heat race. Jeff Thompson slips too high in heavy feature traffic. Raymer started on the pole and led every lap of the Time Trial Classic, although the restart allowed second-place finisher Todd Schaefer to nose ahead briefly. Tim Dietz has a pair of Selinsgrove wins under his Weikert Sprinter belts going into the National Open. There won't be a third, as Tim's problems begin with a flat tire during time trials. Oh well, racing is what happens while you're making other plans. Fred Raymer leads over fellow front-row starter Todd Schaefer in another Time Trial Classic. The 40-lapper was stopped only once for Kevin Gobrecht's spill on lap 10. After the restart, Schaefer slowed with problems, and the deuce of Ed Lynch moved into second, but could not run down the smoking 12 of Raymer, who led every lap. Meanwhile, point champ Jimmy Nace announced his retirement from the sport. Sunday, September 24th, a rescheduled regular show is green flagged at Williams Grove. Bill Jones, number 12, acts like a sprint car often does. Jesse Wentz was running second to Buzz Wilson before getting into the rail on a fourth-lap restart. Brian Paulus has a spot of bother. We interrupt the time trial season finales with a pass for the lead. Todd Schaefer has already passed 11 cars, and he buzzes Buzzy on the 9th lap. Congratulations to Todd Schaefer, today's feature winner, 95 Port Royal point champ, and Williams Grove point champ. September 1st and 2nd, the World of Outlaw sanctioned Williams Grove National Open. Mark Kinzer time trialed and dashed his way to fastest car status. Thus, the Carl Kinzer wrench number 5 started on the pole both nights. This eliminated all fan-annoying passes for the lead, as Mark led all 60 laps total. Fred Raymer, however, is annoyed. Sammy Swindell was on hand Saturday only and tore a hole as high as second before a blown engine precluded the potential Woo tragedy of a pass for the lead. After a bad break here 1 year ago, Mark Kinzer collects his due.
But for the first time, you can say you really won a big one, the 33rd Annual National Open at Williams Grove Speedway. How's it feel?
It feels great. I tell you what, I collect little antique cars and such from racing days, and like I said last night, just adding my name to the guys that's won this race, it's just great.
All men are created equal, but then comes the moment of their own exertion. And now that we've got ourselves in enough trouble for another year, we'll leave you with Midwest spills, including some of the wingless with an attitude variety, courtesy of Brian Thompson and George Moses. We will continue with odds and ends until we run out of tape. Cameramen are Jeff Hall, Fred Klunk, and Todd Oakletree. Additional thanks to Sports Plus Video, Rusty Clark, and Red Weiland. Our camerette is Claire. Congratulations to Silver Spring Point champ Danny Hager. I'm Wayne Harper. Interviews thanks to Bruce Ellis, Jeff Ulrich, Joe Brunner, Joe Mengel, Steve Inch, Jeff Alum, Wayne Harper, Ernie Saxton, Tom Little, Mike Dutko, Alan Kreitzer, Ted Reitz, Ken Stahl, and the announcer at Challenger Speedway. Thanks to our many friends in management at all the tracks for their continued cooperation. Full race coverage tapes from the circuit are available from the following. For Port Royal, Rusty Clark at area code 717-248-1935. Williams Grove, Lincoln, and Hagerstown, Sports Plus Video at area code 301-223-7318. For Penn National and Linda's, call Jeff Small at 717-738-1367. For Clyde Martin, it's Todd Oakletree at 410-544-3691. Bill Bush takes care of Big Diamond and Grandview. The phone number is area code 610-856-1627. For Silver Spring, check with Sesco TV at box 462, Camp Hill, Pennsylvania, 17001. Thanks to all of our fellow Vidiots for their friendly cooperation. So until we assail you again on tape next year, we'll see you at the races.
Moving down the back straight with landing pursuit car number 53. And there's one right over there. There's one gone right over in the...